POTAG's declaration of strike issued today, and which is expected to take immediate effect, raised several issues which we'll delve into later on in the show. The release concludes that, and I quote, "In the midst of this blatant disregard and lack of cooperation by government, POTAG is left in the woods wondering the kind of obligation government has towards polytechnic education." Well, let's now do some discussion now. I have in the studio George Osei Ejay, who is organizing secretary of POTAG. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's big story. We apologize that you had to stay a little longer for the president to close the National Economic Forum. I mean, let us speak a little bit about the National Economic Forum. I mean, as polytechnic teachers, you see the forum as necessary in gathering ideas to help solve some of our economic problems, including non-payment of your book allowances.
Thank you.
Do you think it's necessary?
It's necessary. The country needs such forum to discuss.
Okay.
There are brilliant minds out there that need to be tapped to help develop our dear country. It's necessary.
And you are responsible for shaping some of these minds in the polytechnics, and you're striking. Why are you striking? There, some of the students say you are unreasonable, especially at the time they're writing examinations. Some final year students are not happy that they will have to stay longer in school because of this strike. Why? Why this timing?
Thank you, Mike. I don't think POTAG is being unreasonable. This has been a yearly ritual. Why do POTAG, and for that matter others, who qualify to be paid such allowances, have to petition government year after year to be paid this peanuts?
Is it peanuts?
Oh,
if it was peanuts, you should have let it go. Just forget it. Don't take it if it's peanuts. So why are you striking if you call it peanuts? I mean, you're not being grateful for the money that is being paid to you, and you're describing it as peanuts.
The sacrifices that we are making are enormous, and government needs to appreciate that. And this is one of them. Year on, we come here to talk about this. Why should teachers leave the class to strike before someone pens pen to paper to sign a document before we are paid? Is someone not working at the office? Why should we remind them with a strike? Is that fair, Steve? That's not fair.
I don't know. What do you teach at the polytechnic?
I teach microbiology.
Microbiology, that's a big subject.
That's a practical
How do you feel knowing that you're striking and your students studying microbiology possibly are stranded? You are inhumane, I could say. Oh
no, I don't think we are. You see, we have documents to prove that from the beginning of the year we have reminded governments. We wrote to them. We've sent 3 reminders. As we speak now, government have not even sent an acknowledgement letter that they have received, they are working on it. This money that we're talking about is not something we are demanding now. It's something we've worked for. Our semester, for that matter the academic year, is ending this month. And to show that we care, we started petitioning them right from January, that the year is ending in May. The semester ends, the academic year ends. We will now be entering a new academic year. So please do as usual. Rectify it. Put in the necessary procedures to start the process of preparing to pay. From January till now,
nothing is
no
happening.
show.
That's very sad. That makes you unhappy.
Very unhappy.
And you took advantage of the timing of the examination to strike.
This is
just
pure,
when it's painful. It's more painful.
Pure coincidence.
Coincidence? You
coincidence. No, see, we started from January.
Is that each time you go on strike is coincidence? That you time your strike to come when students are writing their final exams and they're helpless. You're holding them to ransom. That can't be coincidence.
See, you have a document in your hand.
Yes, I do.
That sends you back to the beginning of the year, January.
It is itemized. You have 8 points that was included in your declaration of strike,
so ask
which
yourself,
gives us the various times that you've met with the National Council for Tertiary Education, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, and you held press conferences. You also, I mean, it's a lot of them. So you feel that I should be content that you worked hard enough to get amicable resolution to the matter and it didn't come.
Exactly. So ask yourself, all these officials, someone is being paid to work. All this while we have not asked for a strike. We were working and reasonable, you know, because we were writing whilst at work, telling them that the time is coming when we can take it no more. someone should also be responsible, put in the mechanism to start the process of payment. Ask yourself why from January, not even a simple acknowledgement. The last press conference was held on the 15th of April. And then we asked them, if we don't hear from them on the 22nd, we will advise ourselves. Ask us, did we hear from someone? No.
You haven't heard from anybody yet?
We haven't heard from them.
We're hoping that we can get an ADR expert and a lawyer, legal practitioner to talk to us about the legal implications of what government is saying. Government says that it is illegal for the polytechnic teachers to go on strike at this moment. When we get our lawyer, Sam Bannerman Wood, we'll bring him on. Meanwhile, the Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students also have an issue about this, although they agree that the teachers have a basis for making the demands of what they deserve. They're not happy about the timing. We're joined on the telephone line now by the public relations officer of the Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students, Obed Amponsa. Good evening, sir, Obed, and thanks for joining us on today's Big Story. Hello, good evening, Obed. We're grateful that you could make time to join us on Big Story.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me, Obed?
Hello, please, your line is not very clear.
Right, I'll try to speak a bit louder. I'm asking if you can hear me. Right, I think we're having challenges hearing Obed. We'll bring him on again. Obed Amponsa is the public relations officer of the Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students. He's joining us to share their view of what this strike really is doing to them. They agree that the teachers have a right to make a demand of what they are due, what is fairly due them, but they feel that the timing is wrong. So I earlier said that some of the polytechnic students are unhappy, especially because they're writing their final exams. Some of them are concerned that they may have to stay in school longer and pay for their sustenance a bit more longer, which is very worrying. Do you feel their plight?
Really, we do. We are parents.
You are
Two,
parents.
as teachers. The joy of every teacher is to see your students do well, pass well, live within the stipulated time. Normally when it extends, it's a big problem for them. And now that economically it's not even good for them to stay a day longer because it will cost them so much. We do appreciate.
So do you have timelines? Are you giving government an ultimatum as to when you want this book allowance to be paid, or you will not return to the classroom?
As it stands now, we've not even heard from them. The last meeting that we had with the Ministry of Education, we went there not to negotiate, because this demand that we're making now is not negotiable. This is something we've worked for. They only need to reimburse us.
Right,
the semester is ending.
I beg your pardon, I'll hold you. I got Obed back on the line. Obed, we lost you earlier, and I was asking that your group, you claim that you're not against the teachers making a demand for what is due them, but you're not happy about the timing. Tell us what your students' body are feeling right now with the strike.
To tell you the truth, it's bad. It is very, very bad right now. Let me tell you an issue that happened this morning. Takoradi Polytechnic, they started their end of semester this morning. You know, some had papers at 7. They wrote it. Those that had papers at 11, they went to sit at the examination hall, and then the news broke that POTAG were on strike. You know, it takes a whole lot of toll on students after burning the midnight candle, going through hell of a time, preparing ourselves for exams, and then all we hear is that lecturers are on strike, so the exam is not coming on. You know, it's demoralizing.
But Obed, the teachers have an issue. Their book allowances have not been paid by government, and they need this book allowance to get the right books, to prepare the right materials for you to learn and pass your exam, including your final exam. So if they're not getting that, what do you think they are teaching you?
It's not bad, or it is true that the research allowance is due them. It is imbibed in their terms of engagement, I believe so. But looking at it, some especially the third years, we are preparing for our that is final exam and then our project work. We mean the timing of the whole thing. It is our major headache right now. The timing of the whole thing, because actually we are collecting happenings at our various campuses, but then the two or three campuses that we have heard from, it is bad. The issue is quite uncomfortable.
So the timing is bad for you. What are you making a plea to the teachers to return to the classroom until your exams are over?
It will be our greatest pleasure to see them back at the classrooms. You know, we are appealing to them. We are appealing to their conscience to consider the plight of students and then return.
Obed, we're grateful. Obed, we're grateful for your time. Obed is the public relations officer of the Ghana National Union of Polytechnic Students. We're also joined on the line by Deputy Minister of Education in charge of tertiary sector, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa. Good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us on today's Big Story.
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me.
The ministry has already said through the public relations officer that the strike is illegal. I mean, we don't need to be reminded of that. But on what basis are you saying it's illegal? And they've said that they've made several attempts to get hearing from the ministry and nothing is forthcoming. Can you help us find some answers?
Well, good evening to you and to your dear viewers. Let me begin by stating that this strike action has come to us as a surprise because we have been holding meetings on this matter. The book and research allowance is paid once every year, once a year. Last year, it was paid in October. This year, we are preparing to effect payment. The bone of contention now is that we had proposed the National Research Fund, where we will put this money in the fund as seed capital so that we can begin to take research more serious than we have been doing, spreading it in with a book and research allowance. So that book and research allowance will be paid. It's not in doubt. The money is intact. The issue now is how do you pay it? Do you pay it with the old system of book and research allowances, or do you pay it with a new vehicle known as the National Research Fund?
But we
have been holding discussions. We met at the ministry only 2 days ago. On Tuesday, we had a very good meeting with UTAG, and we were to report to the National Labour Commission yesterday, which we did. I led the team. I was surprised to find out that POTAG did not show up. It was only UTAG that showed up. And then we heard today that they had declared strike. So if you say that you have several attempts to meet us and engage us as proof futile, whilst you have been engaged, we were holding meetings, and you have been in all our meetings. 22nd April meeting, you were with us. Then the meeting this week, just on Tuesday this week, you were with us, and we had discussions. And then you say that attempts to meet us as proof futile, then you are not being fair, and you are being economical with the truth. So
I'll get a quick reaction from the UTAG rep who is here. You're not being fair and being POTAG rep who is here. You're not being fair. You're being economical with the truth. You didn't show up at a meeting which you were supposed to attend to iron out the differences.
Thank you, Steve. I don't think you can just walk to a meeting uninvited. One, that meeting with Labour Commission, we were not invited. So I don't know the mandate with which we are going to attend such a meeting. We wrote to them, remind us, 3 letters.
You knew about the meeting.
I am the rep for Accra, and I'm the one responsible for distributing all letters concerning POTAG activities, because the center is in Wa. Any letter they write comes to Accra as the center. And I, talking to you now, solely responsible for distribution. I send the letters to them.
You haven't been invited to
We have
meeting.
not been acknowledged, more or less to even be invited. It was at the meeting with Ministry of Education that we were informed that UTAG have been invited, so we should join them. So we asked, on what mandate are we attending that meeting? For Christ's sake, we have not been invited.
You know about this National Book Research Allowance that the Deputy Minister is talking about. You are not in favor of the National Book and Research Allowance, just like POTAG is.
We are not against the National Fund. What we are demanding now is that per our conditions of service, lecturers are promoted based on research. And that is part of our core mandate, our activities. This is something we negotiated for. You see, government on one hand sat alone, government attend crusade, government attend church services, government attend congregation, and they announced that the research fund is going to be set. We were not even part of those negotiations.
We'd like to wrap up with Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa. So, Sam, you've heard George Osei Eje, who is a representative of POTAG in our studios here. I mean, let's step forward. I mean, the thing is that the strike is here. We need to get students back to school. What's government thinking about doing?
Well, when we noticed at the meeting yesterday with the Labour Commission that POTAG was not in attendance, I drew the attention of the Commission, and they said that the Ministry of Education can write to the Commission and apply for us to, because we are going into mediation now with POTAG. We don't want to complete with POTAG and then start the cycle again with POTAG. So we are going to apply to the Labour Commission, and the Labour Commission says that they will respond to our letter and then now ask POTAG to join us with the mediation so that we can make progress on this matter and address it once and for all. In the meantime, we will only appeal to POTAG that this is a matter that we are resolving. We have been having very fruitful discussions. There is no need to declare a strike at this point when we are making so much progress.
Right. Thank you very much, Sam. Okudzeto Ablakwa is Deputy Minister of Education in charge of tertiary education. George, I'm afraid that we don't have a lot of time here.
You know, the minister said we were invited. Now he said we were not. He only realized that at the commission. So who is telling the truth? The minister is lying. For Christ's sake.
The basis of this is not to determine who is lying.
Exactly. We were not invited.
We're thinking about a solution to this problem, and the Deputy Minister has made
this book and research is not negotiable. So government should think of paying us and telling us
the strike is still on, right?
The earlier the better, because we are not rescinding the decision to call off the strike. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. My name is Stephen Enti.